So, good morning, students. Today we are going to see about the small intestine. In the previous classes, we have seen about the stomach. Okay, we have had a very detailed study about the anatomy, histology, and the different functions of the stomach. Today, we are going to study about the small intestine. The next part of the digestive system is small intestine. Okay, so before going into the small intestine, we should all understand that what are the secretions that are flowing into the small intestine. So the next part of the digestive system after the stomach is the small intestine. So you all know the structure of the small intestine very well. It is having three important regions or parts called as the duodenum, jejunum, and ileum. So this is the most important part of the digestive system where the maximum digestion and absorption takes place. So from the stomach, the chyme passes into the small intestine, okay, for digestion. So what is chyme? Chyme is the liquid kind of food that is being, prepared by the stomach, okay, prepared by the stomach, by the mechanical action of the stomach, and also by the digestion of the HCl and the pepsin. So this would have converted the food into a liquid form of substance, which will be easier for the further digestion in the small intestine. So little by little, the food in the form of chyme will flow into the duodenum. Okay, that is around 2 to 3 ml of chyme will flow into the duodenum in a regular manner, and here it will be acted upon by different enzymes. So what is the importance of duodenum is the main glands of the digestive system flows or secretes their secretion into the duodenum. So we have already seen in the previous classes that there are 5 glands, important digestive glands. So what are they? They are the salivary gland, gastric gland, liver, pancreas, and the intestinal glands. So here you can see 3 kinds of secretion, one from the liver and the other from the pancreas. So when you take the liver, the secretion from the liver and the gallbladder together combines with the pancreatic secretions and flows into the duodenum. You can see from the picture that this is the liver, this is the right lobe of the liver, and this is the left lobe of the liver. You can see here, you can see the left hepatic duct, and this is the right hepatic duct. So they all combine together to form the common hepatic duct. Here, this is the gallbladder. So the secretions of the gallbladder flows into the cystic duct. So this is the cystic duct. So the cystic duct and the hepatic duct join together to form the common hepatic duct. Okay, common duct called as the common bile duct. So you call it as the common bile duct. So this common bile duct combines along with the pancreatic duct. You can see the pancreas. So this is the pancreas, leaf-like structure of the pancreas. Okay, they combine together and they flow into the small intestine. Okay, this is how it happens. So their contribution is very important for the digestion, in the small intestine. Okay, so that is what we are going to see now. So now, before studying about the liver, we have to study in detail about the pancreas. So what is pancreas? What are the different parts of the pancreas? And what are the secretions of the pancreas? So what are the enzymes that are secreted by the pancreas, and what is the action of these enzymes on the food? So this is what we are going to see first initially. Okay. So what is pancreas? So pancreas is actually a retroperitoneal or a gland. Okay, pancreas you can see here, it is a leaf-like structure. See, this is the inner curvature of the duodenum. Duodenum is a J-shaped organ. You can see here, fleshy J-shaped organ, and it fits the pancreas exactly fits into the inner curvature of the duodenum. So it's a leaf-like organ. You can see there are 3 parts in the pancreas. So what are they? This is the head, which is in close contact with the duodenum. Okay, inner curvature of the duodenum. It is very much near the duodenum. And then above this, you can call it as above. I have already told you, above means superior, below means inferior. So above this you have the body, and then towards there is a tapering region called as the tail. So there are three regions. One is the head, and the other one is the body and the tail. Okay, so the secretions of the pancreas are of two types. The secretions of the pancreas are of two types. What are they? They are exocrine secretion and endocrine secretion. That means it has two kinds of cells. So we all have studied that all the digestive juices are secreted by exocrine cells. So in the stomach also we have seen about the exocrine cells. So what are exocrine cells? The cells which secrete the digestive juices containing the digestive enzymes are called as exocrine cells. What are endocrine cells? Endocrine cells are those cells which secrete hormones. So they are endocrine in nature. So here in the pancreas, there are two kinds of cells. So 99% of the cells are made up of exocrine cells. Only 1% of the cells are made up of endocrine cells. So we can see the structure of the exocrine and the endocrine cells in the next slide. So before that, you have to understand. So the cells, okay, they are called as the acini cells. The cells of the pancreas, they are actually in the form of clusters. The exocrine cells are in the form of clusters, and these clusters of cells are called as acini cells. They surround the endocrine cells. The endocrine cells are actually present in the inner side, and all the exocrine cells, I told you, it will be formed in the form of clusters, are surrounding the endocrine cells in the form of clusters called as acini cells. So these acini cells have exocrine function. So they are, each and every cell secrete some juice, okay, juice, and they are collected by, you can see, smaller ducts, okay, smaller ducts, and the all those smaller ducts empty their content into the bigger pancreatic duct. Okay, you can see a duct here. So this duct collect the secretions of the acini cells, okay, from smaller ducts, and they flow out of the pancreas like this. So this is the larger duct which collects the pancreatic secretion. This is called as the pancreatic duct. Okay, this is called as the pancreatic duct. So the what is another name of the pancreatic duct? It is called as the duct of Wirsang. So duct of Wirsang. This is the other name for pancreatic duct. So there is another duct which are coming from here, which is a smaller duct, which is called as the accessory duct, which is called as the accessory duct. This accessory duct is a smaller duct, okay, which will which will be present around 2.5 centimeter from the common pancreatic duct, okay, common duct. So here you can see the accessory ducts, which is a smaller duct, okay. This combines with the pancreatic duct and joins together to form the common duct. Okay, so the accessory duct is called as the duct of Santorini, duct of Santorini, and this pancreatic duct will be called as duct of Wirsang. See, these two join together here, so they flow down, and you can see a structure called as the, this is the bile duct. Okay, you can see this is the common bile duct. As I have told you, the liver is made up of two lobes, the right lobe and the left lobe. The secretions of the left lobe are collected by the left hepatic duct, and the secretions of the right lobe are collected by the right hepatic duct. Okay, so they come together, join to form the common hepatic duct, and the secretions of the bile come out. See, this is the gallbladder. Bile is the, secretion of the gallbladder. So they come out through a duct called as the cystic duct. This cystic duct and the common hepatic duct join together, and they also come out of the liver, and they are called as the common bile duct. Now here you can see this green color common bile duct combines with the pancreatic duct. Okay, come. So this pancreatic duct now has joined with the accessory duct. These together, you can see this green colored common bile duct and the pancreatic duct join together to form the hepatopancreatic duct. Okay, hepatopancreatic duct. Okay, so you can see hepatopancreatic ampulla. Okay, so they flow into the duodenum. So when they flow into the duodenum, you can see in this structure, this is a better structure, better picture, enlarged picture showing the pancreatic duct, that is the duct of Wirsung, and also the green color common bile duct. Say those two join together to form the hepatopancreatic duct or hepatopancreatic ampulla. This is otherwise called as the ampulla of Vater. Ampulla of Vater. See, both these ducts join together and they open into the duodenum. Okay, so this is the mucosa of the duodenal region, and when where the place, the site where they open into the duodenum, it is a raised structure. Here you can say a raised structure. This is called as the major duodenal papilla. Okay, this is called as the major duodenal papilla, and where they open, okay, where they open, they are guarded by a sphincter muscles. Okay, this sphincter you can see, it is called as the sphincter of the hepatopancreatic ampulla. Okay, or sphincter of ODDI. So I'll just push this side so you can see clearly. See, this is the sphincter of hepatopancreatic ampulla. What is the sphincter? This is the opening, okay, opening of the common bile duct, that is the hepatopancreatic duct. So this duct should, the flowing, the secretions of the pancreas and the bile should not be allowed to flow. Throughout, isn't it? So it must be guarded, and it should be as secreted only in pulsatile form. So it is guarded. All the openings or tubes, just like the cardiac sphincter, pyloric sphincter, there are sphincter muscles which will guard the openings of the tubings or duct. So they will not allow the flow of the fluid into the next region without any break. So they will guard it and open the sphincter, open the valve only at times whenever it is needed. So that is why it is guarded by the sphincter of the hepatopancreatic ampulla. Okay, so this is the structure of the pancreas. So the pancreas, you can see, this is the what are the ducts, we will just repeat again. The duct which are present coming from the left lobe of the liver is called as the left hepatic duct, and the one which is coming from the right lobe of the liver is called as the right hepatic duct. They join together to form the common hepatic duct. This common hepatic duct joins with the cystic duct from the gallbladder to form the common bile duct. So this common bile duct will come up to the pancreas, you can see here, and this pancreas, it has a pancreatic duct. So pancreatic duct collects the pancreatic juice from the cells of the pancreas and flows and connects with the accessory duct, okay, and join together to form the bigger duct. Okay, so this pancreatic duct along with the common bile duct join together to form the hepatopancreatic duct, hepatopancreatic ampulla. This is otherwise called as ampulla of Vater. So this will open into the duodenum in a region, you can see with the place where the site where it opens into the duodenum is a raised region called as the major duodenal papilla. So this region is guarded by sphincter of hepatopancreatic ampulla called as the sphincter of OD. Now we will see the different cells which are present in the pancreas. So this is the picture representation of how the duct is flowing, the pancreatic juice and the bile is flowing into the duodenum. See, you can see this is the picture showing the duct carrying bile from the liver and gallbladder and pancreatic juice from the pancreas to the duodenum. See, right hepatic duct and left hepatic duct join together to form the common hepatic duct from the liver. This will join with the cystic duct from the gallbladder to form the common bile duct. This common bile duct will again join with the pancreatic duct from the pancreas and flow into the duodenum. So this is the histological picture of the duodenum as well as the pancreas. You can see pancreas, it's a leaf-like structure. It is showing the pancreatic duct, okay, the head, the body and tail of the pancreas, and this is the duodenum. You can see the inner wall of the duodenum is having many finger-like foldings, so it is highly stretchable and extensible. So just like the stomach, you can see the foldings, you can see here, this is the duodenum. So you can see the duct, common bile duct, major duodenal papilla, the raised region of the duodenum where it receives the um, hepatopancreatic duct. Okay, and these are the other regions of it. This is the liver, you can see the liver here. So this is the histological, that is the anterior view of the liver, pancreas and the duodenum. Now, in this picture, we will see about the different cells of the pancreas. So this is a very clear picture where you can see a beautiful picture of the pancreas and the spleen and the blood vessels which are flowing into the pancreas. See, it is a very beautiful picture. So where you can the yellow or pinkish yellow color of the pancreas, leaf-like structure. You can see the head, body, and the tail region. See how the blood vessels, the common hepatic artery flows. The splenic artery divides, and splenic artery goes into the spleen, and then you have dorsal pancreatic artery, gastroduodenal artery, anterior pancreatic duodenal artery here, and the duodenum of the small. This is the duodenum of the small intestine. Now we will see the name pancreas. It means that pan means all and creas means flesh. So as I told you, it has got both the endocrine as well as the exocrine function. So, see, you can see the cells, as I told you, the endocrine cells are only 1%, okay, 1%, and they are present in the center. They are present in the center, whereas the exocrine cells are present in the surrounding, okay, surrounding the endocrine cells. So, you can see they are actually in the form of clusters. These cells are in the form of clusters. These cells are called as the acini cells. Okay, acini cells. So these acini cells have exocrine function. Okay, you can see here also the how the picture the endocrine cells surrounded by the acini exocrine cells. It's a beautiful picture, and you can see these are the exocrine cells secreting the pancreatic juice containing, I think you all know what are the enzymes of the pancreas: trypsin, chymotrypsin, deoxyribonuclease, ribonuclease, and pancreatic lipase and pancreatic amylase. All these are the enzymes present in the pancreatic juice. Okay, so let us talk about that a little later. So before that, you have to see the acini cells. So when you take the acini cells, you can see the blood capillaries, how the blood capillaries flows into the pancreas, and you can see many blood capillaries present in the endocrine cells as well as the exocrine cells. So the blood vessels completely go into the cells, okay, both endocrine and the exocrine cells. In the endocrine cells, you have various types of cells. So what are the various types of cells? You can see the alpha cells. Okay, the violet color ones are called as the alpha cells. So what do they do? About 17% of the this endocrine cells are made up of alpha cells. Okay, and this is called as the islet cells. Okay, pancreatic islet cells. This inner endocrine cells are called as the islets of Langerhans. So you would have heard about this name. So they are called as the islet cells. Okay, 17% of the islet cells are made up of alpha cells or A cells. Okay, so what do they secrete? They secrete glucagon. Okay, glucagon is a very important hormone. Okay, so I think you know the function of the glucagon. Glucagon raises the blood glucose level. The next cell, you can see it is the beta cells. Okay, so it is made up of 70% of the islet cells. You can see all the inner ones, no, are made up of beta cells. See, 70%. This is the alpha cell is 17%, and beta cells are 70% of the islet cells are made up of beta cells. So, what do the beta cells secrete? They secrete insulin. The next one you can see is called as the beta cells are otherwise called as B cells. Okay, A cells, B cells, and the third one, it is called as the delta cells. Delta cells or the D cells. So this constitute about 7% of the islet cells. So 17% of alpha, 70% of beta, and 7% of delta cells or the D cells. You can see the cells. One here, one is present here, and one is present here and here. Okay, they are called as the delta cells. What do they secrete? They secrete somatostatin. So they secrete somatostatin. The next cells you can see it is called as the F cells. The remaining 70 plus 17 is 87 plus 7 is 94%. The remaining 6% of the islet cells are called as the F cells. You can see here, this is a slightly brown in color. They secrete pancreatic polypeptide. So they secrete pancreatic polypeptide. So what are the functions of these hormones? They are all hormones. They have regulatory function. So they regulate the concentration of the glucose in the blood. So the glucagon increases the blood glucose level, whereas the insulin decreases the blood glucose level. So delta cells and F cells, they control these cells. Okay, somatostatin inhibits the secretion of these cells. Okay, pancreatic polypeptide also has a similar function. They inhibit somatostatin. Okay, they inhibit the somatostatin. So somatostatin also inhibits the growth hormone and the secretion of insulin, whereas the pancreatic polypeptide has an inhibitory effect on the somatostatin. So this is the structure of pancreas. Okay, there are different cells of the pancreas. You can see this picture shows that this slide shows the different types of pancreatic cells, islets. So 17% of the islet cells are made up of alpha, which secretes glucagon. 70% is made up of beta or B cells, which secretes insulin, and 7% of the islet cells are made up of delta cells or D cells, which secretes somatostatin. So this is identical to the growth hormone, but inhibits the secretion of the growth hormone. Remaining 6% cells are called as the F cells, and they secrete the pancreatic polypeptide. Okay, so this is the secretion. These are the cells, different cells that secrete the different hormones. Now, how the secretions are regulated? Okay, the negative feedback regulation of the secretion of glucagon and insulin. So the left side shows the insulin and glucagon, and the right side shows the insulin. So the different cells are shown here. So low blood glucose. Okay, what is when the concentration of the glucose in the blood goes down, it leads to a condition called as hypoglycemia. So this hypoglycemia or lower concentration of glucose in the blood stimulates the alpha cells to secrete glucagon. Okay, it stimulates the alpha cells to secrete glucagon. Now, what is the action of glucagon? It will act upon the hepatocytes or the liver cells. So, what do they do? First, number one, it will convert the glycogen to glucose. So, what is glycogen? Glycogen is the storage form of glucose which is present in the liver. So, during starvation or when the blood glucose level goes down, the cells will not have enough glucose. So, they will become fatigued. So, this is sensed by the islets of Langerhans. That is, a hypoglycemic condition is sensed by the islets of Langerhans, and the alpha cells immediately secrete glucagon. It will act upon the liver cells, and immediately it will convert the glycogen into glucose. So, what is the main function? More and more glucose are produced. Number two, okay, glucose is formed from lactic acid and other amino acids. What is this process called as? It is called as gluconeogenesis. So, by a process called as gluconeogenesis, more and more glucose are produced or formed, synthesized from lactic acid and amino acids. The next step is the glucose is released by hepatocytes. Okay, glucose is released by hepatocytes. The glucose which is being formed from glycogenolysis and gluconeogenesis are released into the blood, so that the level of blood in the blood glucose increases. Level of glucose in the blood increases and comes to normal. Okay, now because of continuous glycogenolysis and gluconeogenesis, when the level increases beyond normal, immediately what will happen? There will be a feedback mechanism. Okay, that means if the condition goes to hyperglycemia, this will have a feedback mechanism on the secretion of the glucagon. So immediately the secretion of glucagon will be stopped. Okay, now this increase in the blood glucose will also be sensed by the beta cells of the islets, and it will start secreting insulin. Insulin has got an antagonistic action on glucagon. So what does it do? Insulin will be secreted. It will act upon the various blood body cells. So what will happen? It will remove the glucose from the blood. Okay, so it will remove the glucose from the blood. What does it do? It will accelerate whatever glucose is present in the blood. Okay, it will stimulate the cells to absorb more and more glucose. So glucose will be transported into the cells. Okay, it will accelerate or increase the diffusion of glucose into the cells. Number one. Number two, speed conversion or glucose into glycogen. So excess glucose will be converted into glycogen and stored in the liver by the process called as glycogenesis. The next one is increase uptake of amino acids and increase protein synthesis. So it will be converted into amino acids and protein synthesis will be stimulated, will be increased. The next one, fatty acid synthesis. Again, more and more glucose will lead to synthesis of fatty acids by a process called as lipogenesis in the adipose tissues. The next step is the glycogenolysis will be slowed down, will be inhibited. Okay, glycogen conversion of glycogen into glucose will be slowed down. And similarly, gluconeogenesis also will be slowed down. So the blood glucose level comes down to normal. Then if it goes below the normal, it will lead to a condition called as hypoglycemia. Okay, which will again have a feedback inhibition on the beta cells. So the insulin secretion will be stopped. Okay, insulin secretion will be stopped. So this is how the regulation takes place. So let us have a summary of the pancreatic islets hormones. Here you can see the alpha cells, beta cells, delta cells, and the F cells. So what is the role of alpha cells? They secrete glucagon. Okay, glucagon. Now, what is the control or regulation of the secretion? Decreased blood level of glucose. The role is mainly to increase the blood glucose level. So whenever there is a hypoglycemia, exercise and mainly protein meals stimulate the secretion of the glucagon. Somatostatin and insulin have an antagonistic effect on the alpha cells. So the action is it raises the blood glucose level by increasing the glycogenolysis and gluconeogenesis and releases the glucose into the blood. The next is beta cells. So the beta cells secrete insulin. Okay, so insulin is a hormone which lowers the blood glucose level. So it will be secreted when it senses hyperglycemia, increased blood level of glucose, and also acetylcholine released by the parasympathetic vagus nerve fibers. So these are all the stimulators of insulin secretion. Arginine and leucine, these amino acids. Okay, glucagon level is high, GIP, growth inhibitory protein, growth hormone, and ACTH stimulate the secretion. All these are the factors which will stimulate the secretion of insulin by the B cells. Somatostatin inhibits the secretion of the B cells. Okay, somatostatin also has an inhibitory effect on the growth hormone. So what is the action? It will lower the blood glucose level by transporting the glucose into the cells and facilitating glycogenesis and decreasing the glycogenolysis and gluconeogenesis. It also increases lipogenesis and protein synthesis. The next cell is the delta cells. So what do they secrete? They secrete somatostatin. So somatostatin, the role of somatostatin is to inhibit the insulin and glucagon and slows the absorption of nutrients from the GI tract. So here what does it do? Pancreatic polypeptide inhibits the secretion. Okay, so when these insulin action goes high, the delta cells will secrete the somatostatin so that it will inhibit the insulin glucagon action. Okay, whereas the somatostatin is inhibited by pancreatic polypeptide secreted from F cells. Okay, so F cells are secreted, that is a meal containing protein, fasting, exercise, and acute hypoglycemia will stimulate the secretion of pancreatic, that is a polypeptide from the F cells. Okay, so increased level of somatostatin, okay, and elevated blood glucose level inhibit the secretion. Okay, so it is got both these have a inverse effect on each other. When the somatostatin level increases, pancreatic polypeptide will be secreted and it will inhibit this. When the somatostatin level is high, this secretion of pancreatic polypeptide will be low. Okay, so when it increases to a particular level, this will be secreted and it will act upon the delta cells to inhibit the secretion of somatostatin. So role of pancreatic polypeptide is inhibits somatostatin secretion, gallbladder contraction, and secretion of pancreatic digestive enzymes. So these are the role of the cell, that is the uh, endocrine cells. So what is the role of exocrine cells? So we will come back to this. The role of the exocrine cells. Okay. So exocrine cells, as you all know, see these are the exocrine cells called as the acinine cells. So what do they secrete? They secrete pancreatic juice. Okay, where they secrete the pancreatic juice. So how much of pancreatic juice is secreted per day? About 1.2 to 1.5. That is 1,200 to 1,500 ml of juice is secreted by the pancreas per day. So what is the nature of the pancreatic juice? It is a clear, colorless liquid, consists of mostly water, and the main constituent is sodium bicarbonate and some salt. Okay, so sodium bicarbonate, salt, and several enzymes. So what the important role of the pancreatic juice is to convert the pH from the acidic to the alkaline pH. So that is contributed by the bicarbonates. So the secretion of the bicarbonate will change the pH of the stuff. The chyme which is reaching the duodenum will be acidic in nature. So immediately the secretion of the bicarbonate will take place from the bile. Okay, from the bile. Okay, this contains the bile will contain the salt. Okay, the salt of that is the sodium taurocolate, glycocolate, etc. Whereas the pancreas will contain bicarbonates. So the main role is it will change the pH to alkalinity. So the what is the pH? 7.1 to 8.2. So it will buffer the acidic pH of the chyme, so that the pepsin will not be active when it reaches the duodenum. So I have already told you that pepsin will be active only in the acidic pH 1 to 2. Okay, when it reaches the alkaline pH, the pepsin will not be active. So it will have a protective action in the of the duodenum by the secretion of the bicarbonates. So that the HCl which is coming along with the chyme does not have any harmful effect on the duodenum. Okay, intestine, so that it will be nullified. What are the hormones secreted by the pancreatic juice or present in the pancreatic juice? Is number one, pancreatic amylase. So what is the role of pancreatic amylase? It will act upon the carbohydrates. It is a starch digesting enzyme. It will act upon the carbohydrates and convert them into smaller ones. Okay, so in the next one, so the smaller ones are dipeptides called as sucrose, lactose, maltose, etc., which will be further acted upon by the intestinal enzymes maltase, lactase, and that is the duodenal enzymes. Okay, so the duodenal enzymes are together called as enterokinase. The enterokinase is a group of enzymes secreted by the duodenum. Okay, duodenum. The next enzyme is called as the pancreatic lipase. So what is the role of pancreatic lipase? It will act upon the fat, triglyceride, digesting them into glycerol and fatty acids. The next enzyme is trypsin and chymotrypsin. So what is the role of trypsin and chymotrypsin? They are the protein digesting enzymes. Okay, so they are actually not secreted in the active form. Protein digestive enzymes are very dangerous if they are secreted in the active form always. So in order to prevent the action, because they are protein digesting enzymes, they can easily act upon the proteins of the digestive walls. Okay, so they are always secreted in the inactive form called as the trypsinogen and chymotrypsinogen. So when the pancreatic juice reaches the duodenum, what will happen? The enterokinase secreted by the duodenum will act upon the trypsinogen and convert the trypsinogen to active trypsin. Okay. Now, when the trypsin is formed, it will act upon the chymotrypsinogen secreted by the pancreatic juice and convert into the active chymotrypsin. So, these two are the protein digestive enzymes. What are they? Trypsin and chymotrypsin. Both are secreted in the inactive form, trypsinogen and chymotrypsinogen. The next enzyme, next one is the enzyme acting upon the nucleic acids. So what are they? They are called as the ribonuclease and deoxyribonuclease. So ribonuclease will act upon the RNA and deoxyribonuclease will act upon the DNA. So what are the enzymes secreted by the pancreas? Pancreatic amylase, pancreatic lipase, trypsin, chymotrypsin, ribonuclease, and deoxyribonuclease. Now, these cells, these exocrine cells, will also secrete another enzyme called as trypsin inhibitor. Okay, trypsin inhibitor. So, This trypsin inhibitor, from the name itself you can understand that it inhibits the enzyme trypsin. So it will, whenever the trypsin is formed inside the pancreas accidentally also, okay, the trypsinogen is converted into trypsin, what will happen, it will damage the pancreatic cells. So it is a protein digesting enzyme, very very powerful, very very active enzyme. So it always has to be present in the form of trypsinogen. It will be made active only when it reaches the duodenum. So by accidentally also, if the trypsinogen is converted into trypsin in the pancreas, this trypsin inhibitor will act upon the trypsin and nullify that. Okay, and it will block the enzymatic activity of the trypsin. Okay, so this is very very important, trypsin inhibitor. So trypsin inhibitor, you could have seen it also, it will be used in the cell culture. Trypsin inhibitor, you would have heard about this enzyme trypsin inhibitor, will be used in cell culture to inactivate the enzyme trypsin. So apart from these, there are some other enzyme called as pro-carboxypeptidase, okay, and aminopeptidase. So they will also be secreted in the form of inactive pro-carboxypeptidase and pro-aminopeptidase, and also another enzyme called as elastase. So elastase also will be secreted as inactive pro-elastase. So these are the secretions of the pancreatic juice. Okay, we will study about the role and function of the pancreatic enzymes later when we study about digestion and absorption. Okay, so next we will see about liver and gallbladder. Thank you.